If you are in a place of turmoil, then this video is for you. It's weird to be alive right now. It's weird to watch two very distinct groups of people feel like we're either walking into a dark age or a golden age. There are a group of people out there that are suffering with current events. And then there's a group of people out there that are happy with the chaos and the turmoil that's happening around us. Whether you're a person who's suffering based on those national events, or you're a person who's suffering from personal events in your own life, this video is for you. I will be talking about tarot, but I want to make sure that, like everything that I talk about, everything that I share, I want to do my best to keep it as down to earth as possible. Perhaps you're familiar with tarot. Perhaps you're not. The wisdom that I'm going to bring here today, though, is something that I've learned along the way. So I will talk a little bit about traditional tarot wisdom, but I want to talk to you about some of the things that the cards have taught me. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with tarot cards. So this is a deck of cards, right? First and foremost, each card has an image or a symbol. We have the Eight of Cups, the Two of Wands, etc. This system here did not start out as a fortune-telling device or a source of divination. It started out as a game. So anytime I sit and interact with tarot, anytime I teach tarot courses, I reiterate that fact that it started out as a game and we should be doing our damnedest to have some fun with it. So not only do I want to keep what I'm about to share here down to earth, I want to keep it lighthearted. And I hope that the wisdom and the information that is shared here today can help you find a little bit of peace in times of turmoil. Again, whether that's in your personal life or whether you're at turmoil with what's going on around you. Okay. In tarot, we have two systems. We have the major cards and the minor cards. Today, I'm going to be talking about the minor cards, and the minor cards are 4 suits of 14 cards. Think playing cards. I want to keep this information accessible to people who are both familiar with tarot and people who have no idea what the heck it is. The minor cards are like the 4 suits that we would see in playing cards. Those suits are as follows: Wands, Cups, Swords, and Pentacles. They can correspond to the 4 suits of playing cards. Absolutely. Those 4 suits, Wands, Cups, Swords, Pentacles, correspond to the 4 classic elements: fire, water, air, earth. Those elements can correspond to 4 parts of us. Fire is our spirit or our will, our drive, our belief system. Cups are our emotions. Swords are our mind, ability to communicate. Pentacles, earth, is our body, our physical self. So as humans, we are made up of 4 different things. Our drive, our will is a thing. We have our emotions, we have our mind, and we have our body. Those 4 parts of us, they are distinct parts that overlap and interact. I want to talk to you about those 4 suits. And I'm going to use the aces. Just like aces in playing cards, tarot has aces. This is the Ace of Wands, Ace of Cups, Ace of Swords, and the Ace of Pentacles. Now, the information that I just brought forth to you, what they represent, the fire, spirit, will, emotions, water, what have you, that's classic tarot wisdom. That's where classic tarot wisdom stops, and I want to share with you what I have learned from tarot, what I've discovered by using it along the way, and practical information that I think you can use. You don't have to use tarot to know this stuff, but you can use this about those 4 different parts of you to find peace in this life. So I want to talk to you about fire. Now, I believe that each of these 4 suits correspond to what I call a primal verb, an action that we all take. Fire, to me, is belief. I believe. I feel. I think, I know, I am. Now these are different. Belief is not knowing. And I always use the idea of reincarnation. So there are people that have the belief of reincarnation. We can believe that we can reincarnate, but we can't prove it. If we can prove it, it's no longer a belief. So water. Water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius, 32 degrees Fahrenheit. That's a fact. That's what we know. It's not what we believe. It's what we know. It's interesting that this world that we're in is really at a conflicted place because a lot of what we think we know, we might believe, and a lot of things, vice versa. Facts, though, are facts. I stand at 6'7" tall. That's a fact. That's not subjective. That's not a belief. It's a fact. Okay. Belief, though, this is perhaps our most powerful force. And let me explain to you. This is fire. So think magic wand, all right? Fire is an element that when we interact with it, it's an element that doesn't care about us. It's either going to burn us or warm us. Think of that. Fire. We get warmth from it, yes? But it's also an element that can burn us. So it really depends on how we interact with it. It does. Now let's talk about your belief system. And this is where the wellness part of this little video comes in. Your belief system. What you believe about yourself. What you believe about the world. Do those beliefs warm you and sustain you, or do they burn you? Do you believe that you're worthy of love? Do you believe that you're a beautiful, powerful human being? Or do you believe that love will never be yours? Do you believe that you're ugly, fat, and stupid? Your beliefs will either warm you or burn you. And that's an important message for all of us right now. There are a lot of things happening around us in the world. Political, climate, weather. I mean, we've seen some wild weather stuff. Okay. We need to manage our belief system. We need to manage our belief system. So with a lot of unpredictable things happening around us, I don't think it's unfair to say, I believe I'm going to be safe. Now, the facts might be different than that. I might not be safe. But if I believe I'm going to be safe, I'm going to warm myself with that belief. If I walk around believing I'm going to be unsafe all the time, I'm going to send awful signals to my body. I'm going to hurt my body, physically stress my body out, and I'm going to use my belief system to hurt my body. So let's say that you're somebody that's upset with current political happenings. Do you believe that we're going to crumble to pieces, or do you believe that something good could come out of this? That somewhere along the way, the perseverance of the human spirit in the face of injustice and tragedy will see us through. How does your belief system right now warm you or burn you? About yourself personally, about the world around you. It's like being a parent. Do you believe your child's always going to be safe? Or do you believe your child is always going to be unsafe? Your belief system and how you believe things in the world could be how you manifest your reality. For instance, if you don't believe you're worthy of a healthy, loving relationship, let's say you have one. Let's say that you're in a relationship that's healthy and loving, but you have this sort of self-hatred woven into you, and you don't believe that you're worthy of it. There is a distinct possibility that, based upon those belief systems, you will manifest, you will repeat patterns unwittingly that brings that belief system into fruition. If the deep, dark part of you believes that a relationship is never going to work out, you're not worthy of it, you might very well repeat patterns that reinforces and brings that belief into reality. Emotions. There's a lot of people right now that are having emotions. But let's talk about water. Because water is an element that will either hydrate us or drown us. Your emotions will either hydrate you or drown you. Now, I stand in direct opposition to so much of the woo that the New Age spiritual world brings. There's a lot of people out there. I remember meeting a woman one time who was like, you can't feel angry. Like you can't feel angry. Anger is not healthy. I'm like, you're on left field, woman. You're on planet 9. Anger is an emotion. We're here as humans because some of our ancestors got angry at things righteously. So there is a sickness in the spiritual world called toxic positivity. You've always got to be positive. Keep a positive attitude. Don't be angry. I reject that fully, and here's why. I believe in the power of every human emotion that we have access to. Every human emotion is just an emotion. It's a response to the world around us. Emotions, in and of themselves, are not good or bad. Water, in and of itself, is not good or bad. Does it hydrate us, or does it drown us? Does it water our garden, or does it flood away our yard? Our emotions are either a medicine or a poison. Think of aspirin. The right amount of aspirin is a medicine. Too much aspirin is a poison. The right amount of anger can be a medicine. Too much anger can be a poison. So when it comes to being emotionally intelligent and managing the flow of the emotions through us, it's important to remember to manage them as best you can. First, you don't assume any of your emotions are wrong or bad. So let's say that you're having an emotional reaction to the things that are happening around you. That's not necessarily a bad emotion. I'm going to ask you what good that emotion does you. How can you use that emotion that is just a thing? How can you use that emotion to motivate you to something better, away from something that's hindering you? Can you use that emotion to hydrate you? I want you to consider that. And a healthy way to interact with our emotions is to come into a place of observance of them, to observe our emotions, not to identify with them too much. Here's why. In romantic languages like French and Spanish, or even Irish language, the Irish language, they would never say something to the effect of, I am sad. In those languages, they would say something to the effect of, sadness is upon me. Or I have sadness. You know what I mean? Something like that. So when you say, remember the use of language and the power of words, when you say something like, I am angry, or I am sad, when you say I am sad, you're taking accountability. You can't be sad. You literally can't be sad in the same way that you can't be the sun. The sun can be upon you, beating you down. So when you observe your emotions and understand that they're universal to all humans, sadness is universal to us all, anger is universal to us all. When we understand that those emotions are things that we can observe and interact with better, we can mitigate their response to us. So, listen to them, feel them, but try to channel them. Unfortunately, what I'm seeing is a whole lot of people in this world right now who are angry, righteously so or not. We're not going to even get into that, but they're angry. And what they're doing is they're hurting their body. They're taking their emotional response and they're drowning themselves with it, sending all sorts of stress signals to their body. Your body does not know if you're in the midst of political upheaval or in the midst of a forest fire. When you send those panic messages to your body's going to respond in a way that is just what it does. If you can observe your emotions and try to process them and do your best to dial them back or control the flow of them, I'm human. I get angry. What I do with my anger, and this is not necessarily something that's going to work for everybody, but when I feel angry, what I do with that anger is I do my damnedest to turn it into love, to go from anger to love. Whenever I feel fear, I try to love that fear. I try to observe it, understand it, try to learn from it, and go, what am I responding to? What can I do about that thing now? And I do my best to be emotionally intelligent to manage the water within me. Now let's talk about our mind, because beliefs, that's spirit, that's will, water, emotion. Let's specifically talk about our brain. And this is why I love the analogy of the sword representing the mind. Because if you don't use a sword with skill and grace, you're going to hurt yourself or other people. If you don't use your mind with skill and grace, you're going to hurt yourself and other people. Your mind is just a tool. Understand that. Your mind is just a tool. Your mind is the part of you that learned the alphabet or the English language. Your mind can be reprogrammed. It does take repetition. I hate this part of our world where so many people are inundated to advertising and programs and messages of the ideal body. And I'll die on my deathbed saying this. We're all suffering because we grow up in a world of advertising where it's the maybe she's born with it, maybe it's Maybelline message. The brain was taught that the body is bad based on the messages that it got. However, if I said to you, you need to learn a new language like French or Spanish or anything like that, you would have to repeat that over and over. You'd have to train your mind. That goes with self-love. So here we have the Ace of Swords, the sword card. The sword is a tool. It's either a tool of defense or offense. It's how you use it. You've got to use your mind with skill and grace, or you're going to hurt yourself or other people. We're not taught to do this, and I'm not going to get into conspiracy theories, but as Americans, imagine what the economy would turn into if people didn't have to hate themselves, if they didn't have to respond to those calls of like, you need makeup or hair or beauty or, go extra. Look at the diet industry. Look at the fitness industry. The diet and the fitness industry benefit so much from people being inundated with the messages that their bodies are inferior. In that way, the mind becomes a thing that hurts ourselves because we're not using it with skill and grace. Ask yourself, though, I've asked you to observe your emotions, but you can observe your thoughts. What part of you observes your thoughts? What part of you observes your thoughts? That's the part that can retrain those thoughts. So I'm a big believer that the secret to life is the answer to the question, what would I tell my kid? Because we're tapping into the part of our soul, the part of our love that we were born with, and that can supersede any of the programs that we pick up along the way. Because as humans, we begin to be programmed by everything that's around us at the age of 2. Our parents, our advertising, our religion, our movies, everything that we're seeing around us at the age of 2 we're being programmed by. Be mindful of how it turns your tool, your mind, into something that cuts you. Finally, the pentacles, the earthly realm, the body. Here's what the pentacles have taught me. Patience. So imagine you plant a seed of corn. And imagine you want that corn to grow. All right? Yell at it. What is yelling going to do for that kernel of corn? Nothing. The natural world operates on its own schedule. To be in this world, we have to be patient. I know that there's a lot of people in this world that want change to happen really quickly. I understand that. But the world is full of natural forces that we can't control that will stop our progress. But patience doesn't necessarily mean complacence. So let's talk about that seed of corn, the kernel of corn that we plant. Well, yelling at it's not going to do anything, but we can water it, we can fertilize it, we can weed the soil, we can till it. Patience doesn't mean complacence or being complacent about anything. It does mean that we are in a physical world with a set of laws. So a lot of people have fitness goals. Imagine the people who don't have the patience to stick with a fitness regimen because it takes like 12 weeks to see changes in your body. Imagine the people who don't know that, don't understand that, or are too impatient and they go to the gym for 2 weeks and they give up because they don't see it change. Okay. You've got to be patient with yourself. Any changes that you want to bring into the physical world and with the world around you. Having patience is key. But being passive and not tilling the soil is not necessary. Sitting back and waiting for things to happen. Participate in your goals, participate in what changes you want to bring about in this world, but understand that there are other elements at play that you cannot control. It's like getting sick with a virus and then going, oh, I need it to be done. Well, it's going to take its toll. You can take medicine to help move it through. You can participate in that process. It may speed it up a little bit, but overall, you're going to have to be patient with it. So that's the physical realm. So here is, I believe, I feel, I know, and I am. Those are all parts of you. Make sure that you're managing them in a healthy way. Make sure that you're managing them in an intelligent way so you can do your best to find peace. Because peace is your birthright. Peace is something that I think we should all be concentrating on. And this is something that helps me. I'm mindful of my belief systems. I believe in myself. Nobody can change that. I believe in my path. Nobody can change that. I'm not going to let my belief systems burn me. I'm going to let those belief systems warm me. I'm a human being with emotions. When those emotions come on me, I observe them and I do my best to be hydrated by them. My thoughts, my brain has been taught certain things in this world. If that brain turns into something that hurts me, I do my best to acknowledge that, observe that process, try to figure out where it comes from, and then I use it to not hurt me. I use my brain with skill and grace. That's what tarot has taught me. With my body, with the world around me, with the plants, with the changes, with the things that I want to bring into fruition, I'm patient. Because it's not all about me and I don't control reality. I can contribute to reality, but I don't control it. So I hope I've given you a lot of food for thought. And in this way that you're inundated by messages and social media feeds and new media, all of it, remember that pretty much the media, corporate media, loves the chaos because people are addicted to the fear. And there goes all of the commercials, right? More advertising. Same online, clicks add to revenue. Social media is geared to outrage us, so we're addicted to it and we're emotionally manipulated by it. But please do your best to manage your emotions because those emotions, thoughts, beliefs, physical response, they can have an effect on this body. People are getting sick out there because of external influences like viruses, yes, but the amount of stress that we're all going through can deeply impact our immune response as well. So be managing as best you can those 4 parts of you, and like 4 table legs, they all got to be stable and in balance so the table stays steady. Manage those 4 parts of you, find peace, have patience, but don't be too passive. Okay? Participate in the world that you want to bring about. So thank you for listening. I hope this helps. I hope it gives you food for thought. All my love to you. If you want a tarot reading, find me online on my website, joshsimons.com. But thank you for being here, and I hope it helps.